Hi guys, in this video, you will see how the actors of Pretty Woman movie 1990. You will know their real names and age. And today, let's see what all of the Pretty Woman stars look like now versus when they were on the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Let's get started. Number 1. Richard Gere as Edward Lewis. Edward Lewis is a second-generation business tycoon who is wealthy and successful, but often cold and remote. He is a man of limited sentiment who is good at business and being the best, but also alienated from his own emotions and desires. To outsiders, Edward seems as if he has achieved it all, but he doesn't feel that way. His life is getting a bit dull, but picking Vivian up on the street is changing things way more than he bargained for. Edward views relationships and personal entanglements as more trouble than they are worth. Edward Lewis was played by Richard Gere when he was 41 years old, and now he is 73 years old. Number 2. Julia Roberts as Vivian Ward. Vivian Ward is an attractive, charming, and savvy young Los Angeles prostitute. Despite having dreamed of greater things, a series of bad decisions and an attraction to bums has led her into sex work. She delights in shocking people, but also has an endearing vulnerability. She is self-deprecating and full of contradiction. In a gritty and dangerous industry, Vivian is a stickler for dental hygiene, flossing after her first evening with Edward. She is feisty and willing to stand up for herself, but also suffers from low self-esteem, withdrawing immediately when someone looks down on her. Vivian Ward was played by Julia Roberts when she was 23 years old, and now she is 55 years old. Number 3. Jason Alexander as Philip Stuckey. Phil Stuckey is a shameless yes-man who is as ambitious as he is insincere. While he promotes himself as Edward's closest friend and confidant, he is an opportunistic and cutthroat attorney. Depicted as superficial and shallow, Phil favors getting ahead over taking the time to develop genuine social relationships. Phil is manipulative and often leads Edward to act in a way that harms himself but benefits Phil. He is also sleazy and, although married, tries to hire Vivian as an escort. When Edward decides to help Morse's company without Phil's counsel, Phil takes it out on Vivian, sexually assaulting her and hitting her. Phil reveals himself to be the film's misogynistic antagonist. Philip Stuckey was played by Jason Alexander when he was 19 years old, and now he is 51 years old. Number 4. Lara San Giacomo as Kit DeLuca. Kit DeLuca is Vivian's best friend and roommate who led Vivian to become a prostitute in the first place. Kit is hardened by and obvious to the effects of prostitution. Highly disorganized, Kit spends the girl's rent money on drugs and is outrageously untidy. In spite of her flaws, Kit is ultimately supportive, warm, and kind. As with Vivian, prostitution has accustomed Kit to thinking the worst of herself. However, she is supportive of her friend, encouraging Vivian to give Edward a shot and to dream of a fairy tale ending. Kit's life also takes a more positive turn at the end of the movie, and she decides to trade a life on the streets for beauty school. Kit DeLuca was played by Lara San Giacomo when she was 28 years old, and now she is 60 years old. Number 5. RAF Bellamy as James Morse. James Morse is the head of the company that Edward's company is seeking to buy and dismantle. He is an older gentleman who runs his business in a more old-school fashion, and Edward is endeared to him. He becomes a stand-in father figure for Edward. When Edward decides not to dismantle his company, Morse tells him that he is proud of him. James Morse was played by RAF Bellamy when he was 86 years old. Sadly, on November 29, 1991, Bellamy died from a lung ailment at St. John's Health Center in Santa Monica, California. He was 87 years old. Number 6. Alex Hyde White as David Morse. David Morse was the grandson of the business tycoon Edward was dealing with. David was well-mannered, amiable, and didn't share his grandfather's temper. He was also very kind to Vivian. He plays in the polo match that Edward and Vivian attend. David Morse was played by Alex Hyde White when he was 31 years old, and now he is 63 years old. Number 7. Amy Yspick as Elizabeth Stuckey. Elizabeth Stuckey was the perfect match for Philip. Snobby and mean, she could definitely be best friends with Rachel McAdams' Regina George. She, like her husband, is all about money and power, and she likes to show it off. Elizabeth wasn't exactly nice to Vivian either. Elizabeth Stuckey was played by Amy Yspick when she was 28 years old, and now she is 62 years old. Number 8. Elena Donahue as Bridget. Bridget was kind and good at her job. Bridget was Barney's friend that was able to give Vivian the help she needed to find a dress in time for an important dinner with Edward. Vivian was distraught after trying to go shopping, but no one would help her and she was even asked to leave the store. Bridget was played by Elena Donahue when she was 53 years old, and now she is 85 years old. Number 9. Hector Elizondo as Barney Thompson. Barney Thompson was manager of the hotel Edward and Vivian are staying in. Instead of calling the police on Vivian, he helps her. He has a more subtle, quiet approach, but he's a good guy in the background, helping Vivian learn how to behave at the events Edward takes her to and supporting her along the way. Barney Thompson was played by Hector Elizondo when he was 54 years old, and now he is 85 years old. Number 10. Judith Baldwin as Susan. Susan was a detective investigating the body of a prostitute who was found in a dumpster. It was probably a holdover from the darker original story. Susan was played by Judith Baldwin when she was 26 years old, and now she is 58 years old. We really love all the cast of Pretty Woman TV series. Thank you for watching, guys. If you like this video, please like, comment, and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you on the next video.